plug in the microphone. We're live. We could not get Larry into the computer. So this is, I'm sorry, we have to go old school. This is, let me get this balanced. Wednesday, I can't get this microphone to stand up straight. Okay, this is Wednesday, November 20th, 2019. And I know we've got a couple people in the chat. I'm not seeing anything recording yet on how many people are. 17 people are with us. Larry's back. He had told us that he was done because he was exhausted. We thought we'd run out of money. We have had money to keep him going. And I want to make an announcement. After a year, when people had donated, we used to have a GoFundMe linked through the website. And they stopped sending me the money that people donated. I knew there was money there. I did not know how to get it out. We were trying to get it back from them. Well, they finally sent it to me. I had it available yesterday. And so I want to say thanks to all of you who had donated and have had to be patient all this time for that money to finally get to Larry being able to use it. So he has used that yesterday, plus a little bit extra from other donations. And then we started out using that this morning, and the amount that I got will take care of them for a couple days. So thank you to anybody who has been frustrated, wondering if their GoFundMe donation had ever gone through. But because it has been a year before they have sent me the money, we're not going to continue having a GoFundMe whatsoever. I'm going to make sure at this point, now that I've got the money, that we shut it down completely. It's just a fiasco working with them. So Larry said start with some of the questions that Mimi has put in. She's been watching the hearings. So I'll just read everything. She said, the ambassador should be asked if he likes the idea that a family member of his would be convicted on people saying, I presumed this to be so. What's up with Ken Starr and his awful statement about Republicans heading to the Senate to demand a resignation? She thinks she saw it on Fox. Have you heard anything about that, Larry?
I haven't heard anything about that. I know from word I got from the group that I'm with that Starr had made some comment apparently this morning on Fox that the opening statement or the opening statement in shifts 45 minutes, the way it was presented, the way it came out, it looked bad for Trump. So, now let me tell you, once again, we found out, by the way, after he did his opening statement, shifted his 45-minute or whatever, they took a break supposedly for a potty break, but it wasn't. It was a break where Shipman running out in front of the camera saying that this was explosive, that, they had him, they had Salmon. He was saying it was quid pro quo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then we were told that CNN was leading their story on TV with, basically explosive testimony or something in the notes somewhere. It wasn't until, unfortunately, later this afternoon that the crux of it finally gets brought out. You see, he, instead of making it out like he had said there was quid pro quo, he knew it. What he's actually been saying is he presumed it to be quid pro quo. He just pursued it. Now, that goes into the catalog with all the other things that have been said by all these quote-unquote star witnesses. It was their opinion, my opinion. I thought, all of these kind of thought processes. So where's the beef? Where's the evidence? The only piece of evidence that does exist is him actually talking with President Trump and medicine, you better go ahead and get your refill because you're going to need it. By the way, the media is going to play this. But from a technical, legal perspective, I don't care about Ken Starr, I don't care about anybody. Nothing has changed. Nothing. And finally, one of the Republicans, I can't remember his name right now, just 30 minutes ago or so, finally slapped him down and just came out and said, you didn't get told that to anybody. That was just you presumed. And he admitted it. So there. It is that matters much as what's going to be put out this afternoon, or already is being put out.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, we got a couple other questions and then we'll comment. How is it that the lieutenant colonel yesterday was not asked, you are a man in uniform and considering a position with the Ukrainian government 3 times? Are you receiving money from them now? What about money from anyone else? He wasn't asked that, and she thought he should have been.
No, but let me tell you, folks, while I did not like that lieutenant colonel's testimony, I did not necessarily like his attitude. I didn't like his attitude. But I believe the man pride stepped on when Trump came in. And he gave it all up when he said there was some phone call or some trip. And he was not allowed on. Said that they told him there just wasn't enough room on the plane. He's another case of somebody that thinks they're so important that they run our foreign policy. They are the key to how the world works. It's not true. Not true. But I do not, even with all that going against him, I do not believe him to be the kind of officer that would be a traitor that would take money from Ukraine. As a matter of fact, I can sort of prove it. When he got that offer, which is done quite often, by the way, to our military people, many of us, especially in special forces, we were offered all kinds of jobs for other countries when our time ran out or when we could get out. But he did what you're supposed to do. He notified his chain of command that the offers were made, so that keeps him clean. There.
Yeah.
By the way, folks, in case you want to know, he was not in the proper uniform on the day. He should have worn a suit, but instead he wore his military dress uniform so he could show off his medals and his patriotism. Yes, ma'am. Whatever.
Okay. So the question I asked you before we started, Mimi's question, that Pence is denying Sondland met with him in Warsaw regarding the military being linked to Biden probe.
Yes, Vice President Pence has made a clear statement, which he will back up with records and documents or records of the meeting he was in. Those subjects did not get brought up. So I don't know what Sondland thought he heard or what meeting he thought he was in when he thought he heard it. But there is absolute proof that he did not bring those things up. Those things were not the issue of delaying the aid, the issue of the investigations, Burisma, even Burisma, not mentioning Biden, even Burisma was not mentioned. And there's proof of that. Now, that matters. Do you think he'll get out anywhere? No. Probably won't. It will maybe on Fox, but it will go in Pence and them talked about it, even though it's not true, it's not lying. What else?
Can you suggest anything we can do to counteract any of this? I guess the only thing to do is to talk about this stuff to people and just say, hey, don't you realize fake news is fake news and you need to find a better, more honest resource for what you believe?
I don't want to be quite vague about this, but it is the truth. If you really want to help do something about this injustice that is going on right now, I wish you would help me. I really do. I really, really do. Because it may just mean that I'm in a position, if able, to help make a difference. And that's as far as I can go with it. And I will tell you also, by the way, if when Barr and Durham's reports and announcements of their investigation come out, everything you have heard in these impeachment hearings will absolutely be shut down. Literally. You will find when their stuff comes out eventually, I'm not saying immediately everything will come forward, but there is proof of a coup. There is proof that even this impeachment hearing is an integral part of the coup, as is the mainstream media. It's going to come out and people are going to be indicted. And it's going to make all of this look awful silly. Bad news is, all of this is designed to make what Barr and Durham and the IG FISA report comes out and says, to make it look like it's just another attempt to cover up for the president. That's how it's going to be spun on their side. We've got to fight. We've got a big fight coming. What else?
I think Sondland is compromised, being blackmailed because his statement was incomplete. How can Donald asked, how can they lie and state?
Let me tell you about Sondland, folks. Sondland owns a hotel chain, few hotels, I don't know. He's a politico. He's thrown money into politics and politics. Worked his way up the scale, worked his way up the system, and was able to buy his position of ambassador. That's done all the time. It is. He is a novice in the world of international affairs. He's just a businessman like you. He's just a person like us. Not experienced in the ways of international relationships. And it's because of people like him that forces us to have to depend on people like Volcker and others, professional ambassador type or international affair bureaucrats, because these kind of guys could run it for a day. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that the bureaucrats have become so embedded with deep staters, so embedded with socialists and communists.
Who are you saying are embedded?
Now are trying to take over our country. What?
Who did you say are embedded with socialists?
Yeah.
Who?
Our social, our ambassador corps, all foreign affairs people, the consulates, etc.
Yeah, well, they're doing an international job, so.
Out of the career professionals. And the problem is these career professional positions, these slots have been paid finally got communists and socialists, and now they're heading up these internal branches of our government, much
Yeah.
to our demise, potentially.
Don wants to know, how can the mainstream media lie and stay on the air? Because they're part of the coup, right?
Well, they can lie and stay on the air as long as companies advertise on and pay them to stay on, and companies as long as people watch these lying, creepy mainstream media, government propaganda machines. As long as people watch, and remember that's 50% of the nation, as long as they're watching them, the advertisers advertise and they'll stay home. That's how.
So do you advocate our trying to boycott some of these things?
You know, I would. Except I can't, me personally, I cannot endorse hurting the thousands of Americans that believe just as we do, that have to work for these companies. I don't believe it's right for us to protest and put them out of jobs. You know, we're not Antifa. We're not out to hurt the innocent. We're not out to hurt people that they're not in control of these corporations. They're not in control of these companies. Management is. And these people have to have jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you this. What I know I'm working with and on, and what I know is going on even beyond me, which is more than what's connected to me. Their day is coming if we win. If we lose, their day is coming and they will rule. What else?
Supposing that, Matthew asks, supposing the House impeaches him, how many Republican senators do you think may be property of the establishment?
At this point, I'm going to tell you we cannot trust 60% of the Republicans in the Senate. Cannot trust 60%. There's probably a half a dozen that are absolutely never Trumpers. So there's no guarantee when it goes to the Senate that the Democrats are not going to get 20 Republican senators to go with them. There's no guarantee. Remember, they've got 5 or 6 right now. So we're talking 15, 14 Republican senators going against Trump, and there are, well, that many that for any good reason of value would do it. We've just got to stay on them, and we will, and that'll be our job when the time comes, if it comes at all. I'm still not convinced that they're going to allow this to go to the Senate. We want it to go to the Senate. We want it brought before the Senate, because when we get to the Senate, plans are already drawn up. Rules are already drafted to make the Senate be governed by the rules of law, which means then Trump gets to bring in his witnesses, his attorneys. We can get the whistleblower and any accusers in public, make them come out and shift, and the scumbags know it. That's why they're probably not going to have to go to the Senate for a trial. They're just doing what they're doing, which is destroying President Trump's image to the American people, because the American people are, you know, guys, I've told you, I said this was Jason, I think it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, I got to get my breath. Once again, reality is 98% of the people that are going to vote on November 2020, 98% are getting right now 100% of that which they believe to be all of the national news they get from their 6 and 10 o'clock
Let's see. Ms. Longoria says every one of Israel's star witnesses have been star witnesses for Trump, she thinks. They keep vindicating Trump.
Well, yes, they are. That's very astute and true. Now, that's reality. But don't believe that and watch CNN or MSNBC or ABC or CBS. Or read the Washington Post, New York Times. Don't believe that if you see those things. Because that's sure not the way it's going to come out.
Do you know who their next witness is going to be?
No, I mean, I do, but I can't think his name.
Okay. Is there any hope left for failing California? Their people are coming to Florida, and some of them have liberal mental disorders, and a lot of them are going to Texas with the same thing. You know, it's stupid for them to flee the state that they voted for the Democrats to destroy and then go vote for Democrats to destroy another state. It's ridiculous.
Well, this is one of the knowns about socialism and communism, and same thing with Sharia. Islam. They work to get a foothold somewhere, much like a virus or a plague. They get a strong foothold and then they start spreading. It starts spreading like cancer. And that's the phase we're coming up to now with California. That cancer in California is starting to be transferred all over the country unless we stop it.
James Reeves says, I've been hearing Soros is in custody and his son is the one we have to fear. Do you know anything about that?
To my knowledge, that is not true. Now, I don't know if we need to fear his son as well, or also, but he's not in custody. He's moving quite well in the shadows around this country. And even if he is in custody, he's got some 56 organizations in this country alone that he funds to do his dirty work, his street work.
Hypergirl is asking about Trump and last weekend. We put to rest the rumor that he had gone to the Walter Reed with chest pains. That was not true, and I verified that from another source, Larry. But there has been a story. Yeah, there's another story that his chef got poisoned, and so Trump was taken back to check him out again.
That is not true.
Yeah.
If that were true, I would have heard it. I have not heard it. Now, let me take that back. That doesn't mean I hear everything. But I'm in pretty good position. If something as major as that had occurred, I would have heard about it. I probably couldn't talk about it. But I would not, even if I had heard something like that and it was true, even though I would not be allowed to talk about it with specificity, I certainly would not be here telling you that it was not true.
Yeah.
So I am telling you that is not true, to the best of my knowledge. And that's pretty good knowledge in this matter.
Do you think these phony impeachment attempts will fail and backfire on the Democrats?
They should. They should. But we've never seen a time, folks, where the media has been so unbridled to where they're out in the open with their bias, where they are absolutely malicious in their presentations of this story, of this impeachment thing. So in an ordinary world for America, this thing would play out, and it would be extremely detrimental to the Democrats. But we're not in that world anymore. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. We're not. We're in a new world. And if you don't believe me, of this impeachment inquiry and see what you get. Now, they can't tell you what this inquiry is about. They don't even know what it's about. I'm surprised they don't even know it's about Trump. But they will believe and do believe, as much as you believe the ground you're sitting or standing on right now, they believe that Trump is being impeached because he's a crook. Remember, Pelosi this weekend, you want to have world the first Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, called the President of the United States an imposter. Language like that has never been used, never even been allowed in Congress. What do you got?
Do you think McConnell's with Trump?
No, I do not. Mitch McConnell is 100% for and behind Mitch McConnell. It is our job, not yours, but the people working with me to do our best to make Mitch McConnell understand that helping Trump and doing what's right, helping Trump doing what's right in his best interest personally, politically. I don't know if it'll work. You know, I cannot control the deals being offered him, but you cannot trust Mitch McConnell. Never trust Mitch McConnell. What else?
Do you really think Trump or his kids will go away quietly if he's impeached? Mimi is thinking that Trump Unleashed will be a sight to behold.
Well, I know he won't go away quietly. That, I can assure you, if it were to happen, he will not go away quietly. But I do not believe he's going to be put out of office through impeachment. Guys, we've only got 350 or 60 days left before the election. It's almost hard to believe that there could be an impeachment process through the House finish up, a recommendation passed for there to be an impeachment trial in the Senate, and then for there to be a Senate trial, go through all the prep for that, and have this thing prior to the election in the first place. They don't have time on their side. The Democrats don't have time on their side to impeach yet. But they can impugn him and his character to the degree they build up such an anti-Trump force, and by moves like George Soros is making and others where they're going around and taking over down ballot positions of prosecutors, judges, sheriffs of small communities, medium communities. You know, there's a chance they can put people in submission like they are in California. You open your mouth, you lose your job. You open your mouth, too bad, you get prosecuted. There's a good chance, guys, and I know I make some of the Trump people mad. A lot of the people that are behind Trump believe that we should stand up here and tell you there is no way that cast of idiots that the Democrats have got running for president could dare any day of the week possibly ever be President Trump. I tell you that is not true. It's not true. He can be defeated. With the package they're using on him, both in the media and in Congress and on the streets, yes, he can be defeated very easily. And in case y'all didn't learn from Mary Ellen, if you want proof that he can be defeated, look at Louisiana's gubernatorial race. That was a test race of the Republican base versus the Democrat base. 48% of the registered Democrats bad that make them believe it. And excuse my language, we've got to make the soft base get scared to death and pissed off and make them go vote. What else?
I think you just answered Don's question of how do we stop this. We have to really be evangelists for the truth that everybody must vote.
Everybody is going to vote. Remember, Mary Ellen, everybody is going to vote. If the soft-based Republican or conservative or Trump person, if you don't vote, you do vote. Swear to goodness you vote. If you don't vote, you vote for the Democrat. Just as sure if you went up and flipped the switch for whoever the Democrats running for president.
And chances are, if you haven't voted, somebody's going to vote for you. So, I mean,
there's a good chance of that as well.
Yeah.
But as we saw in San Francisco, found out the detail of that race. You know, everybody talks about this homeless culture. Well, guess what? San Francisco, they went out and involved Soros and them involved the homeless people and got them to all vote. And enough of them voted to win that election. For a guy that's the son of the weathermen people that killed a police officer. Think about it. You don't think I'm telling you the truth. Think about San Francisco. San Francisco voted for a district attorney that allows urinating and using the bathroom in public on the street to be legal. Raised the limit so instead of 750, people can go rob a store for up to $1,500. And it's just a misdemeanor. You might as well advertise. Go rob someplace. It's no biggie. Every homeless person, every criminal, every person like that in San Francisco is going to have a giant flat screen TV. Because they can get 2 or 3 of them and still be under a felony.
Gloria is asking when the FISA IG report is coming out. Do you think it'll be before Thanksgiving? I heard somebody say it'll be the week after, maybe the first week in December.
What I have been told, which I don't like dates positive, but if they put some, hey Larry, to be some legitimacy to December the 11th.
You know, if they put it out definitively, there's sure to be something to take the news away from it, right?
Oh yeah. Well, that's what they're trying to find in that week of December the 11th. The reason I kind of believe it might be true is that is a historically weak week for the news.
Okay, Rendee's asking, what is our phone call mission? Do we have anything that we should be doing right now, or are we right back on hold?
I mean, other than what you're doing, or presently by calling senators, Republican senators, if you choose to, on your own, if you choose, call them and just remind them that if they vote in any way against President Trump, if it comes to a trial, that they'll never hold office again. Never.
If you need a script for that, it is still up on the website nicholslive.com.
What else?
Well, Diane's frustrated. They keep saying the FISA is coming out and it never does. But, you know, Diane, I'm going to answer Larry on that one. Timing is impeccably important, because if they can find any excuse to bury the FISA IG report, they will find an excuse to bury it behind some other news that they think is or will make more important. And, you know, these hearings, isn't it true, Larry, that these hearings right now are part of keeping that information from coming out?
Yes, yes, these hearings were done in anticipation of the FISA report coming out now. And you can see they shut the FISA report flat down.
Lori asked you.
This hearing is designed specifically to block anything Barr or Durham or the FISA would come out and say.
Okay, Lori said, talk more about Barr moving the venue out of DC and where.
Well, as I tried to point out yesterday on Jason's program, the change of venue requires two acts. Two. Number one, you have to justify a change of venue, or cause for a change of venue. Now, I believe Barr has that based off of the jury pool surveys showing that it'd be virtually impossible for Barr to get any kind of fair treatment in a court from juries that are 90+% anti-Trump. So there's part one. If that works, and there's a possibility, that strong possibility, then we got the next part, which is harder. You see, if there's a change of venue, you got to be careful that the court, the D.C. or Southern District of New York, if they don't pick the change of venue to put it in another tainted court. So you got to find a venue where there is a chance to have a fair trial. That's going to be harder to do. Much harder.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Barr is a technocrat. He knows what he's doing. So if anybody can figure it out, it will be William Barr. Bill knows how to handle it. Or at least knows what to do. Whether it gets handled, I don't know anymore. What else?
Yeah, Linda's concerned here. Overall, Americans are apathetic and too lazy to seek out information. They expect someone else to think for them, which is, you know, people just waiting for don't watch the hearings yourself, just take what the media says about it and believe it. They expect someone else to think for them. The Democrats know that, and we're all going to pay with our freedom and lives.
You're exactly right. I will tell you one thing, almost in humor, but it's not humorous. It's not funny at all. For most of us, this is going to be a very interesting Thanksgiving and Christmas time. As you know, a lot of families get together at Thanksgiving and at Christmas, and there could be a lot of explosions within families due to the polarization, even within the families. But another thing I don't like, from Thanksgiving through usually about the 15th of January, not really a good time for major news breaking events because there's such low interest. Everybody's thinking about Thanksgiving, thinking about Christmas, and then New Year's. It's a low time for people to think about the country. And it's working out to where a lot of what we need brought out is going to come out at that time. But there's nothing we can do about it. We can't keep it down any longer.
All right, Casey raises an interesting thing. He said, we conservatives on Twitter were trying to show a liberal guy the demoted crimes in California in screenshots. He wouldn't believe it. How do you fight this? We told him to look it up for himself.
Well, I've told y'all my position with liberals. When you come across a true person that don't believe any of this, walk away. You're never going to convince them. You're never going to convince a person that has drank the Kool-Aid that much. You're just not. It's just going to tear you up. It's just it's going to frustrate you, walk away. Seek out people. You are to seek out people that are conservative or are at least moderate and open-minded. That's who you seek out. And that's why I caution you about all of these crazy internet rumors and such that are out there. Don't tell them stuff like that. Tell them the truth. Tell them things that are real. And then you say, well, how do we know what's real? I don't know how to tell you that other than use common sense, and then don't look at people like that QAnon and all this other junk. Look at how many times people you listen to and watch on the internet. Think of how many times they told you these incredible stories that just turn out not to be true.
And
So
see,
after a time or two, stop listening to them. That's their gimmick. That's the way they hook you. They find out the kind of spacey stories you like or juicy stories you like. And then they give them to you. You buy into it. You come back. And you come back. Next thing you know, you're hooked on that show or that podcast or whatever. Don't fall for it. It's not all disinformation. A lot of it is, but a lot of it's just people just thinking of whatever they want to think and marveling at how neat it is to be so important that people come to your site to listen to your opinion. You can usually spot them because they'll run with a wild-eyed story, and then they might not do a wild story for a while, and then the audience participation starts to drop down a little. They'll panic and they'll create another wild story. That, folks, is entertainment. That is not information.
oh, I saw a headline today that said that we're going to war with China. At least I think sometime we will, or something like that. You know, that's the kind of thing that we have to be.
I got a news flash for that person. We're already at war with China.
Yeah, an economic war.
That's right. It's just most people in this country don't realize we're in one.
Yep.
And that's why they don't support President Trump, who knows we are and is doing something about it by fighting back the way you have to fight in an economic war, an eco war.
Yeah. Daniel asks, why is Trump not doing anything to break up the Google monopoly?
President Trump can do nothing to break up the Google monopoly. That has to be broken up by Congress.
No wonder not happening.
A president cannot even use executive orders to affect interstate trade or commerce. Can't. That has to be done through Congress. And by the way, there's already laws enough to govern these big techno mega corporations, but they're not being applied. By who? Congress.
Okay, that was all the questions.
Wait a minute. Our Constitution, folks, is a brilliant, brilliant instrument. Brilliant. It transfers all the power out of and away from a central government out to and involves the people. But when you get a class or society of people that, as Mary Ellen has said, or whoever said it, that have become so complacent, bad people get in that system and they're allowed to abuse it. And that's where we are now. It's not our Constitution or our form of government, it's the people in it. And we have no one to blame but ourselves. What now, Mary Ellen? I didn't hear you.
I was saying that's the last question we've got.
Well, that's probably pretty good because my chest is hurting really bad.
Yeah. So We've got 104 people here, Larry. So what would you like to tell them?
Well, I want to say thanks especially to a handful of people. The majority know who they are, but thanks to Renee especially, some people that have come in at the last minute and saved the day. But it shouldn't be that way, guys. It shouldn't. I know none of us have anything. Dear God, don't you know I know that? But our founding fathers, when they went to war to try to free us from England, they didn't have anything. There was a word they had to live with back then. They had to, or we wouldn't be free today, or as free as we're supposed to be. It's called sacrifice. Sacrifice. Mutual sacrifice. We pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes. We pledge that to each one and each of us, to each other. In combat, you're fighting in your life. You pledge it to the guys around you, not to some general, to the people fighting with you. And that's where we are. I have never been more serious about saying, chip in. Maybe it's $1, maybe it's $10, maybe it's 50 cents. Chip in. We're either going to win it together or we're going to lose it together. And each of us have things we can do. Now, not everybody has or even would want to have some of the connections I had. You don't want to know some of the people I know. And just so y'all know, that being with some of the rough people that I have to be with to get things done, yes, I've got an image of being pretty rougher than most of them. You don't want to get in that game ever. I didn't want it, I just ended up in it. But you can help. You know, for every man and woman that's on the front line in combat, there's 100 or better that are supporting them. Motor pool, administration, medical, food. It's the same here. Just do what you can. But know in your heart you're doing what you can. Don't ever wake up and face a day now in the situation we're in now and think, well, I could have done something today, even if it wasn't much, I could have done something, but I just didn't. And don't procrastinate and say, I'll do it the next time. Don't do that. Not now. Every once in a while, I'll get a PayPal thing for $1.72. That means as much to me as one for $172. Engage in this battle. Please, and for God's sakes, force yourself to know the truth, or as best you can the truth, and stay away from these juicy little conspiracy wild tales. As much fun as they probably are, as great a mind bender as it might be to think about, it's non-productive, it's detrimental to our true effort of saving the country. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Dear God, can you please understand what I'm saying? We're a small group of people.
We've got a lady named Renee who says, thanks, Larry, for coming back. There was somebody else higher up on the chat that also said that. And Renee said, I'm planning to knock on doors. That is a great way to spread the word.
I would be warning everybody, don't be pushy. Don't go out knocking on doors and push yourself on people. You know, just go out and meet your neighbors. Just go out and meet the people in your neighborhood and allow the conversation to develop. Allow it to develop.
Yeah.
Don't push people away.
You know, the secret to a good conversation is to let the other person do most of the talking. And so when they're showing a curiosity, you can share something, invite them to this YouTube site, tell them to go to the website, nicholslive.com, just with Larry's last name, nicholslive.com. And, you know, there's a blog there. I know we haven't posted anything recently, but let's see, there was...
Look, a good line to use when you're walking around and meeting people, and just say, I'm coming out in the neighborhood to see if you're interested in politics. Do you concern yourself with politics at all? I mean, just get into it simply that way, and they'll probably say, no, we don't deal with politics. You'll know that's not really true, but you sit there long enough, they'll start talking about it. But just gently get into the conversation. Just please don't be the Jehovah Witness type things where people hear about you and they won't even let you in the door or won't even meet you at the door.
Renee asked how to register people to vote. I don't know how it works in your state, Renee, but in my state, there's a board of elections and they have training to teach how to do it. I went to my Republican women's group had somebody from the Board of Elections come and teach us how to do it. And I don't know if you have to have training. Yeah, I don't know if you have to have training in order to be able to do it where you live. If you do, I don't know what the law is in Virginia. Renee, I'm in Maryland. But the Board of Elections, call your Board of Elections. They will tell you what you can do. We've had people, you know, registering folks at church. You can do it at the mall. You can do it, and you know, you can knock on doors and do it. So, if anybody can match that $20 that was donated, we'd really appreciate it. And if we really need several people to do that, if you can, folks.
And by the way, I just saw on television there's this young lady, I call her young, from New York. Her name is Stephanie. A Republican from New York, young lady relatively, and she has been outstanding in this hearing. So you see, there are people out there. I would have never dreamed a New York person would be so committed, but she is, and she's smart. She's good, and she does not back down. She does not back down, as does Jordan or any Nunes or any of the others.
Yep.
Well, with that, Mary Ellen, I'm going to go. You can pass around the PayPal thing if people don't know it.
Yeah. All right, we'll do. We had 2 more questions. If we had 2 more questions, you can take these last quick ones. Do you know Charles Heim from Arkansas? He worked with the Clinton.
No.
Okay. And how far can Trump fire down a ways? For example, with the military or the IRS?
The president can fire anybody he wants to fire that's working for the government.
Good.
That is the president's prerogative. Any government employee, be it military or whatever, he can fire them. It's not always the smartest thing politically to do, and you have to weigh that out. And also, you need, as president, to have good judgment. You don't want to hurt people that don't need to be hurt. And what happens so often as you get down the chain to people, you know, further down the line of import, you know, the president doesn't know the whole story. You don't want the president to fire somebody based off what, you know, the bad bureaucrats have told him. So it's a little more complicated than just firing somebody. What else?
But that does not include anybody in Congress, because that's not an employee. That they're employed by us, not the government. Rindy has a good suggestion about calling Jim Jordan, and I would say also Stefanik and Nunes' office and tell them thank you for doing a good job.
Yeah. These guys need to know that the people stand with them. It was not hurt at all. It does not hurt. I mean that.
And here's one more person. Yeah, they appreciate the support for sure. Somebody's saying, where are the conservative millionaires when we need their support? Good question.
The conservative millionaires are usually financing the really elite, really slick, highfalutin organizations like the Heritage Foundation and all of that kind of stuff that sounds important. They don't get around to supporting nobodies like me. They don't. They're too cool for that. Most of the time when you see millionaires and billionaires supporting people politically, it's more of an investment than it is a true donation to the security and future of this country. It's an investment. It's buying them something. I got nothing to sell them. I got no power to sell them. So that's why you don't see it very often, if ever.
Yeah. All right, Larry, we've got a couple more things that I can answer. I don't need you to. They're just technical questions about where to find your other videos, and I'll take care of that.
All right. Thank you all. I'll try to be here tomorrow. I can't make promises, but I'll try.
Okay, thanks, Larry. God bless you. All right, folks. Okay. Larry's PayPal is Nichols Live, just his last name, Nichols Live at AOL.com. The website, nicholslive.com, has a direct link to Larry's PayPal. His address is also there. You can send cash only. He cannot cash a check at all. I'll talk about that in a minute. His address is 58 Kensington Drive, 58 Kensington Drive, Conway, Arkansas, 72034. And there is a phone number there, 240-499-6729. If you do not want to send cash in the mail directly to Larry and you do not have PayPal, then send a text message to 240-499-6729. I'll call you back and we can talk about alternative ways. A lot depends on how much you're sending, how we do it, whether we use Western Union or have you mail a check to me that I deposit and go straight to him. Thanks, Randy, for putting in the address because I can't type the number 5 on my computer or 6. That's why I don't. The phone number, the website, the link to PayPal is in the description box straight under here. Thanks, Investigator News. I didn't call you because I was hoping Larry had enough money to be able to be okay to be on the call today. That's it for today, folks. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for anything you can do to help. Believe me, with this money that I just got from GoFundMe, it'll disappear really, really fast. And so the more that you're able to add to the pot, to what we're doing, just add whatever you can, because that just means this GoFundMe fund will last a little longer. And Renee, thank you for your years of service and what you've done. And those of you who have served in the military, those of you who have participated in elections, those of you who are really actively talking to neighbors and friends and so on, or when you're going to visit somebody in the nursing home, there are other people you might run into to say something to. Remember, I said yesterday that one of the things we can do is sign up to go help people in nursing homes vote. So the Democrats are great about doing that and voting for them and so on. So, we need to We need to get more involved and realize this election is going to depend on who gets the turnout, not only for voters, but for who is pushing and helping others as well. Getting the information out, helping to register people to vote, being a poll watcher so you can see who's coming and going and have a place to report if somebody's coming in more than once. The tricking of the machines is going to have to depend on Trump's committee that is working on election fraud. We can go to the Board of Elections and ask about purged rolls. You know, are there dead people who are still registered to vote? You know, call your Board of Elections, go over there, show up in their office and ask. Say you want to see proof that people have been purged from the rolls and are not being put back on. So yes, we can do Walmart to Walmart, but remember, Larry has to pay somebody to go pick something up. So even though, you know, it's only 5 or 10 minutes away from him, he has to pay his nurse to go, or somebody to go and pick it up. His wife can't always do that because of how busy she is. So he has to find somebody else to go Walmart to Walmart or to go to Western Union to pick it up. So it needs to be worth the time and money invested to pay somebody to go get it to make it worth doing. So mail voting, I know Oregon is a state that only accepts absentee ballots by mail, and that's part of why the Democrats can so dominate. It's so easy to cheat on that. Oh, and I promised the question we had, how do we find Larry's videos? Okay, if you type in Larry Nichols on YouTube, you're going to see a lot of the old stuff. The Clinton Chronicles comes up. The website, the YouTube site, Larry Nichols official channel, is what we've been using for the last year plus. I can't remember when we started. It's been at least a year, I think. And Washington does it too, huh? Okay. With the mail-in ballots. Larry Nichols official channel is where you are here, and you can find, and I know when I search somebody's channel, if I don't know the titles and stuff, it gets very difficult to find the old videos. But and Rindy, I'm going to repeat what you said. It is against federal election laws not to have paper ballots available at the precinct where you go to vote. They have to have paper ballots, because if the electricity goes out, they have to have a way for you to vote if the machines are turned off for any reason. Make sure you watch to see how your vote is registered. Now in Maryland, we don't get a receipt. There's no way to know. We vote on a paper ballot, and they're just all full of, look at us, we're doing paper ballots. But then it's read by the machine with no record or proof that you even voted or how you voted. So that, talk about rigged system, in my opinion. And even when we had absentee ballots that I helped to count in 2016, we had to have a team with a Republican and a Democrat, or either one of those with an independent. There had to be two parties reading the mailed-in ballot and somebody else filling in a new ballot, so we could look over each other's shoulders and make sure that it was filled out the way it was originally voted. But then we'd staple them together, or I guess crisscross them together. I can't remember how we did it. Anyhow, the original went with it. But it still then was taken downstairs to be fed into the machine, and there was no way to verify that the machines hadn't been rigged. So, Joyce, contact the Board of Elections. There should be a county office as well as a state office. So, now my county Board of Elections office is not in the county seat, is not in the city with the county seat. It's in a nearby city. I'm lucky. It's just, not too far from where I live. I'm in the part of the county where the office happens to be, but you may have to go across county to be able to find it. But if you want to know where it is, I think you can just go boardofelections.gov or boardofelections.your state name then .gov. Or you can go to your statename.gov, and then click on somewhere to search for Board of Elections. So check with them. Now, I heard a story multiple times on Facebook about a family who had moved away from Kentucky. They were very insistent that their names be purged from the rolls. And they went, and their names were still on there, and they came to visit after they had moved. Their names were still on. They insisted that their names be removed. And then the Democrat who was running for governor put in a lawsuit complaining that the purged rolls, everybody who'd been purged, need to be put back on. And so he won, and everybody got put back on. So is anybody surprised that he was able to win with a lot of votes from people who were no longer living in the state and who were dead? I heard in 2016 about it was so easy for college kids. They can vote in their home state, but then they were also registering to vote and voting where they were a college student. So they were voting in 2 different states. So they were getting double votes. So, and yes, there are many places where mail-in ballots have been thrown in the trash that come in before the election. I'll tell you, when we were looking through the paper ballots, I voted by absentee ballot at the Board of Elections, and I have no way of knowing if my ballot was actually counted. I don't know. I will never do that again. And early voting gives them time to tamper with the votes. So if you cannot go vote, then, sorry, I gotta clean up this page here. Then, Diane, you need to call a church to help you. You need to contact your Board of Elections to get an absentee ballot. I know that's not the ideal, but at least try. And Chris, thank you. Psalm 37, I think it's like verse 7 and 8, where God is laughing at the wicked, and to see the things that are coming. There are some things coming that are going to catch some people by surprise. I don't know. I have no clue what it is. I have no clue who or how or when or where or what. But I do know I've had reassurance from some folks. I've talked to some people, and I have reassurance that there are some things coming that I think we'll be happy with. So with that, I think I need to just be done. Thank you, folks, for everything and anything you can do to help Larry. We will, this is Wednesday, so at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, there is a conference call that I have, and the phone number is at the bottom of the description box down below. A lot of it, folks, just to let you know, because Larry's not on it with us, we have a lot of very lonely people all over this country, and it does become a bit of a support group. We do talk about some of the political things, and if I have talked to Larry between now and the conference call and have something to share, I will share it. And sometimes that's where it'll get shared versus, my having to remember for tomorrow. So, all right. Thank you, folks, and God bless you. Talk to you tomorrow or tonight if you're on the call. God bless. Bye.